kind of give that a rinse. So you have this in a food processor, right? So that's only going to get what's on the bottom. Everything that's up at the top, everything up at the top has to be brought back down to the bottom to get into the cutting range. And then you have this on a blender. This is on my Ninja blender. It has 3 blades, all offset, and this pulverizes things super quick and much more fine. Oh, I don't care. That's what we're here for. We're here to teach and educate. I'm letting these things over here cook anyway. So we're doing good on that. I always leave that stored inside the blender and not on the shelf because those are like razor sharp blades. We don't want anybody cutting themselves. So how are we doing on this one? No, that one's still cooking. We're gonna let these keep cooking a little tiny bit. I'm gonna keep cooking up cutting up my cucumbers. You were very welcome. No, I want you guys to ask questions. If if you guys have questions and it's not on a day I'm streaming, throw them out in the Discord. You can send me private messages. I always recommend putting the cucumber. Hey, what can I say? I always recommend putting the question for everybody to see because there might be other people that have that same question. They're like, oh, I don't want to ask this question. But if somebody else does, everybody gets the answer to the question. Yeah. So in my sink, I usually fill my sink up with hot sudsy water before I start stream. And I have a container in there. So whatever my first big container, if it's a glass or one of my bowls or whatever, I always put that off into one of the upper corners. Anything that's sharp, knives, blades, or anything, go into that container. They don't just get thrown into the sink all willy-nilly because I don't want anybody to get burned. All right, let's see how this one's doing. That's cooking up nice. Here we go. Now you can see there's a little bit of browning on this. That is going to happen, but that's my entire reason for streaming is to get you guys excited about food. So if I'm doing something and it's starting to make you think and ask questions, my biggest thing is when I teach my classes on food preservation and food safety is to get people to start using their critical brain. A lot of us use what we call our cognitive brain, which is the memories that are right there in front of us, and what we call our common sense brain. And our common sense brain and training that we get from our moms or something where if I were to say, some people would freak out over this. So everybody always talks about the 5-second rule. And the 5-second rule does not apply. You put something on the floor, you're picking something up from the floor. Now, things like a potato chip aren't going to pick up much from the floor because it's dry. And the part that's touching, because potato chips are usually, they're warped as they've been fried and whatever, has limited, but you're still going to pick things up from the floor. It could just be all in air. All you need is one cell.
Let us meet you.
Milo, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. So if you take something, I'm cooking in my own home. I'm cooking for Derek and I. When I cook for guests, I cook totally differently. One, I don't stream it so I don't get distracted. And I make sure that my hands are always washed and everything else. But there are times, when we'll do this, or I'll, rub my eye or something like this. And I've had people call me out, well, aren't you going to wash your hands? If I'm cooking for public people, for other people, yes, I would. But I'm cooking for my family here. But let's use our critical brain here. What was that first word? I'm cooking. I am bringing this food up to a high temperature that anything that might be on my index finger right now that touches, the food or whatnot, I'm putting into a pan, a pot, a bowl, something that's going to be brought up to 212 in a boiling situation, 350 degrees in an oven that's temping things out at 165. We all know that danger zone is between 40 and 141 degrees. It's coming up way above that. Not only that, if I'm hitting that target zone, this is for Derek and I, not for the. Oh, thank you so very much, Milo. I appreciate that. So I want you guys to understand common sense thinking versus critical thinking. So I've had people say, well, I can't believe you, if I dropped a, so let's go worst case scenario. I'm cutting up all that chicken that was raw. Remember the raw chicken I cut up into big chunks and we put it into the seasoned water to simmer to use for our chicken salad. Let's say a chunk of that falls on the floor. Well, you're putting it into water that's going to be coming up to 212 degrees. You're probably going to be just fine. I always tell people when I'm doing chicken stock. So whenever we have rotisserie chickens, I save all the bones, right? If I do my own rotisserie chicken, I save all the bones. Even the ones that if you have chicken leg and you ate all that chicken leg, don't throw that bone in the trash. Put that in your bone bag to make your chicken stock. There's a lot of flavor that's going to come out of that bone, but oh my gosh, people ate off of it. It's coming up to 212 degrees. Chances are anything they had is going to be killed off. It's going to be killed off 100%. I don't worry about that at all. Oh my gosh, Maithrin. Yeah, so don't get super hung up on semantics, but be aware. I will say, I would rather people overwash their hands because they've gotten into that practice of doing that, right? I would rather they overwash than not wash at all. So, ooh, these are just about done. Let's check that side there. I have to feel with my finger. If I feel with a spatula, I don't get the same feel that I want. How are you doing? Okay, I think these. I'm going to turn the fire completely off. I'm just going to let them set there for a bit. We are getting to assembly time. Are you guys ready for assembly? When I worked in construction, it's the same reason I put lots of vinegar on my hot sauce. We were somewhere recently. Hang on. We were somewhere recently. No, I don't think it's up there. I think it's down here now. We were somewhere recently. And this lady, she posted she did a whole Twitter thing on there. Not Twitter, TikTok. She did a whole TikTok thing on this. And of course, then there's me with my training and expertise behind me. And of course, I commented. How I'm not banned on TikTok and from other users, I have no idea, because sometimes it just makes me just scream. She flipped out that these two hot sauces were sitting on a table when she arrived. They're room temperature, and that, isn't Cholula good stuff? I just love Cholula so much. And was freaked out over food safety, that they were putting contaminated food out and everything else. I said, you want to know what your biggest problem is with these two things sitting out on the counter at the restaurant? You know, at your table, you know, they're always off to the side. You got your salt, you got your salt, you got your pepper, and all kind of stuff. You know what your biggest problem with these is? Not what's in the jar, it's what's on the outside of the jar, because people, you know, they're coughing and then they pick up the jar, they put their Tabasco on, they put the jar down. They're not wiping off the outside of the jars, the bottles. That's what your biggest problem is. But that wasn't she was concerned about. She was concerned about the contents. Number one content in Tabasco is vinegar. Nothing's going to grow in there. The acidity is far too high for any bacteria to live inside this jar of Tabasco. And on the, this has vinegar, salt, powdered spices, you know, garlic powder, all that kind of stuff, and a little bit of water for viscosity. Same thing. This is not going to go bad. I keep them in there to retain the color. This one, it's already starting to get a little bit darker and everything, but I do have it up in this color. But this one will go darker a little bit longer, a little bit quicker, because it doesn't have as much vinegar in it. But let me tell you, don't freak out over the stuff that's on. There's actually mayonnaises now. You will find that there's like squirt bottles of mayonnaise. This is tartar sauce, but squirt bottles of mayonnaise about this big by Best Foods that you'll see on the table. And people flip out over it, and it even says under no need to refrigerate, because they have so much vinegar in that mayonnaise, it won't go bad. So yeah. I'm just going to turn these over with my fingers because it's easier. Don't freak out over the small stuff. Don't freak out over the small stuff. I wish I had the camera on outside, because I have all the deer out there right now. I have one with an injured foot. I think and it's a younger one, and I think what happened is they were probably running with the rest of the herd, either being chased, and they all jump over these barbed wire fences. And now, red pepper I'm putting inside these lunches. And your kids may not like red peppers, but red peppers are very sweet. They are not, I have the hiccups. I am so sorry. It's good to know about the mayo. I would have been worried about that. Yeah, so, you know, always look at the Always look at the ingredients. But if you're going to use those condiments that are on the that are sitting there on the table, you know, just use your extra napkin. Just pick it up with that and use that. What I wish they had at the tables is little tiny pump things of the hand sanitizer. And the hand sanitizer is only going to kill what's on the surface. Okay, it's not going to get underneath your fingernails. It's not going to remove dirt and grime. So keeping that in mind. But at least it'd be a quick way to kind of, you know, clean your hands if you touch somebody's bottle over there. We have had some of the nicest, most wonderful people coming in to join the chat today. I am just absolutely in love with that. So again, we're thinking kids. So we're going to cut these small. We don't want these big. Kids like, you know, they even have all those little miniature toys for kids to play with. I love red pepper. Oops, I just cut that one out. That one's mine. Oh, that one's really good. That's a really good. The deeper red they are, the sweeter they're going to be. No, this wasn't what you called the pregnant bell pepper. That was hysterical. All right. All right, we have our cucumbers, we have our carrots, we have our, we're going to take a couple of these grapes. Where's my skizzers? Also, if you put grapes in your kids' lunches, take them off the stems. Take them off the stems. Let's face it, kids are excited. Kids want to get out to the playground. They've got to get in line for the swings, right? Don't make them work for their food. It's real easy just to pop all these little bad boys off. That one's a little squishy. We won't use that one. Oh, I should have put that in the thing for the deers. All right, so there's our grapes. There's our grapes. All right. So one of the best ways to keep your kids' foods cold, if you have the time, is make them the night before. Only one troll. That was hysterical. That troll actually gave me a case of the laughters. Now this is a leftover Granny Smith that I'm going to use, that I had. Oh, I threw away that piece of plastic wrap and I need that. So I'm going to cut out the core. Don't bother trying to grow apple seeds. You'll get a sapling, but you won't get a tree that fruits. That's the downside of that. You won't get a tree that fruits. Same for avocado. You can grow an avocado seed, but you won't get fruit. Now, if you want to get your kids to eat their apples, maybe they're not too fond of apples. Me, I'm not an apple person. I'm not a fruit person at all. You could fan them out. You could fan them out like this a little bit in the lunchbox, right? And you could just go along with a little tiny bit of cinnamon sugar right on the top. Yeah, if you're going to be a troll, at least be funny, right? I love that halfway. I love that. If you're going to come in here and troll, the price is you have to make me laugh. That's the price right there. Okay, let's get out some cream cheese. We have our, so I have that. Oh, I got to get this. All right. I did my eggs yesterday, so we didn't have to do our eggs. A texture thing with apples, for me, it's just the fact that it's a fruit. But part of it might be a texture thing. Yes, there is. I am not that person. Yeah. But yes, there is. I had totally forgotten about that, Texas. I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay, so this one, little apple seed. We'll cut this one in half. There we go. Don't you be looking at me. I'm inside my kitchen. You're outside in yours. Deer are out there going, looking at me in the kitchen window like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, chill, 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 chill. All right. We're gonna get these out and let these cool a little tiny bit over here. Put this over here. All right. So like I said, these are my bento boxes. These are adult bento boxes. Because of the seal on them, you do have to kind of pull the lid off. Not the best for kids, particularly if you have young kids, if they're trying to fight with that. We don't want them to fight with that. So here we go. So this one, we're going to use. Now, you could toast these pitas to make them a little bit more tasty. I love pita bread. I always get the whole wheat pita breads. I always get the whole wheat ones. They don't taste like wheaty to me, which is I guess what some people don't like about pita breads. But we're dealing with kids. So we want to make sure our pieces are small. I'm only giving them, that's only a half a pita. It's only 4 little slices of, I don't know why I forgot to put this away. It's only 4 little pieces of it, but that's going to help with that. Oh no, you can, once you grab it, you can get it out of there. But for little kids, you know, I'm talking about, you know, we're talking about kids who are like 6 or 7 years old. This is good for high school kids. I mean, these are meals that you could do for everybody. And they're all going to have, you know, what they need for flavor. Okay, so we're going to put some of this chicken salad in here. You know what? Here, let me get a small piece. Always test for seasoning. Oh, that dill is so good. Oh, I just love, love, love dill. If you make this the night before, it'll even taste better. The dill will have more flavor. So remember, we're talking about kids here. Hey, where'd my tomatoes go? All right, little Susie. We're gonna put these like here. We're gonna take our pita bread. We're gonna put our pita bread right here. I might turn these around. We're gonna put in some tomatoes. They want one of those. They want one of those. They want one of those. Let's give them an orange one. We're talking about smaller stomachs. So this bento box I got on Amazon. I'll post the links, and then I showed the bento box for the children bento box. This one would not be suitable for kids because it's hard to pull up. But they have the other bento boxes, and I can show that one again if you guys want to see that one. Oops. That is this one here. So this bento box is designed for kids. So this has the cooling pack you keep in the freezer. This snaps to the bottom to help keep the contents cool. And then you can see that these all have the silicone seal. So that when this lid is closed, the silicone seal will line up with these points here, but it just has this little flip up thing. They just have to pop it open and the whole thing just opens right up. Now they are a little bit more expensive to buy than an insulated lunchbox, but it is doable. Okay, so this one, so we have our veggies. Now technically tomatoes are a fruit, right? Tomatoes are a fruit, but we're gonna add in our apples here. Now remember, our bento box is gonna come with utensils, so you're gonna include either a little plastic knife or a little plastic fork or spoon. This can get totally squished over here a little bit more. Oh, here, let's go back to this. You can totally squish this over here more to give yourself more room with your veggies and such. And the little squish down, the lid will squish down, don't panic. Nobody panic. And that is a lot of food for that's a lot of food for little kids. So we've got protein, we have our complex carbs, we have our simple carbs, we've got some veggies, we've got some fruit inside here. That's gonna keep them going for quite some time. And then we would just put our lid on top of there. And if like I said, you can do just the one box. A kid doesn't need the double box. That's for adults. So mine would also have this box that would go on top, and then we'd have the next thing. So they do. And I never put these in the dishwasher. Never put them in the dishwasher, because dishwasher detergent is quite caustic. And over time will make anything that's plastic brittle, and will make any of your glasses, it'll start to make them foggy. And a lot of people start pouring vinegar in their glass. Oh, my glasses are all foggy, and they're actually etched. So that is a simple bento box, and there's a lot of food in here. There is a lot of food in here. So that is our first little box that we're going to do. Our second box that we're going to do is going to be, I gotta get some of our, now this, I don't have any more of the, oh wait, I put those over here. I don't have any more of the dividers, because my dividers, the way this box comes, but you saw how that one for the kids had a bunch of different dividers. So make sure you kind of put your foods that are the same consistency together. You don't want to have like really runny foods together. So we're going to put a couple of these butternut squashes in here. This is where you get to play Tetris with your food. It's a wonderful experience. It's what all the cool kids are doing. So we have, let's put this one, let's raise you up. We're going to put you down inside there. So we have our, so what's neat about this is if you have all this food cooked up, right? So you've got a baggie filled with your butternut squash. You have something with your peppers in it, your grapes, everything's all in there. Assembling these is not a problem. So instead of sitting there having to assemble a meal and take up refrigerator space to have 5 lunches all assembled in there, if you have all the food cooked up and all put into baggies, which can be now laid on top of each other and stacked in your refrigerator, it only takes up a small section of your refrigerator. You can quickly assemble breakfast, and it's not going to, oh, foil is a great one. Foil is a great one. So this one we're going to do, we're going to have our hard-boiled egg. We'll put that one on the very, very top. Let's do our, we're not going to do a lot of, my gosh, they are just sitting here eyeballing me like every time I walk by, they're like, So we're not going to do a whole bunch of cream cheese. I'm just doing a little bit for flavor. And we're going to make this like a sandwich, almost like an ice cream sandwich. But like I said, if you have a kid that's just like, oh, no, 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 you can sweeten up the cream cheese a little bit. It won't be too big. Hello, little